everyone, so today we're going to be talking about the central message of a story. And as you can see in our little poster here, the central message of a story is kind of like a fancy way of saying the lesson that the author is trying to teach you. So here are some steps to help you figure out what the central message of a story is. So first you can consider what is the problem in the story. What is not going right for the characters in the story? And then next you can think about how do the characters solve the problem. And then third, you can think about what lesson does the character learn at the end of the story. And you can think about what lesson does the author want you as the reader to learn in the story. And then fifth, you can think about how did the characters change over time, because usually if there's some type of change, then that follows the central message of the story. So, for example, if we were reading the book, The Boy Who Cried Wolf, it's about a shepherd boy who kept tricking the villagers by shouting there was a wolf, even though there was no wolf there. And then finally, when a real wolf did come, no one believed him, so no one came to help him. And so the central message of that story, or the lesson the author is trying to get you to learn from that story, is that if you keep lying often, people aren't going to trust you when it truly matters. So the problem in our story was that the boy kept lying about there being a wolf, and the problem was solved in the story by the villagers. They stopped believing him, which led to our lesson. Again, if you lie often, people aren't going to trust you. So we are going to practice finding or identifying the central message of a story by reading a book called The Lion and the Mouse. Has anyone ever heard of this story before? Give me a thumbs up if you have. All right. Once upon a time, a great big lion caught a teeny weeny mouse. "Please let me go," squeaked the mouse. "Someday I can help you." The lion laughed very hard. "Ha ha ha. How could a teeny weeny mouse help out a great big lion?" Was that a very kind thing to say to someone? No, I don't think so. Do you always have to be big and strong to help people? No, you can be any size to help someone. Size doesn't matter. "You are so funny that I will let you go," said the lion. Then he lifted his paw and the mouse scurried away. A few days later, the grateful mouse saw a surprising sight. The lion was caught in a hunter's net. "Uh-oh. Help me," roared the lion. Do we think that might be our problem in the story? How might that help us figure out what the lesson might be? The mouse chewed and chewed and chewed on the ropes. At last, the lion was free. It looks like our problem was solved. How was our problem solved? Let's think about that for a second. How was our problem solved? Think about that in your heads. From that day on, the lion never doubted that a teeny weeny mouse could be a great big help. So what might be the central message of our story here? Think about what changed from the beginning of the story. At the beginning of the story, how did the lion feel about the mouse? How did he feel about the mouse at the very end of the story? What did the mouse do to change the lion's mind? Your job right now is going to be to open up Canvas and then type into our text box and what you think the central message of the lion and the mouse was. And again, if you need help, remember to think about what the problem in the story was, how it was solved, and how the characters changed over time. Those two things are really important to help you figuring out what the central message of the story is. So to wrap up our lesson, again, the central message is just the lesson that the author wants you to learn at the end of the story.